Oh, well, hello, everybody. It's Transformation Tuesday one more time. So grateful. Let's take a deep breath into this Tuesday in February 2025, where we've come together to transform and to shift body, like shift and uplift the planet. And we're like a global growing group. We've been doing this every Tuesday since March of 2020. You remember when everything was falling apart?
Yes.
That it's not now, but and so we bring different topics in. In the month of February, we're talking about the book "Working with the Law" by Raymond Hollywell. It's one of my very favorite books to teach because we're talking about these universal laws, universal spiritual laws. So couple of weeks ago, we were just talking about there are these universal spiritual laws. And the first one was the law of thinking. What you think about, you bring about. Those little things. Last week, we were talking about the law of supply, about abundance mindset. And this week, I am so thrilled to have my new buddy, my dancing buddy here, to come and talk to us, Beth Robins, about the law of attractions. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit about Beth. Now, first of all, one thing I know about you, Beth, is you are one heck of a dancer.
Ah. Takes one to know one.
Yeah, we met on the dance floor, Jupiter Live in LA, and we both were assigned as volunteers up front. Now, I've done that volunteer position before, but never with the energy that you have brought. And with that law of attraction, just the moves and the grooves, you had all these people following you, including me. So then I'm like, okay, there's somebody I want to get to know. So let me get in here and tell you a little bit about Beth. Beth is an author, speaker, and a certified life mastery consultant like myself with the Brave Thinking Institute. Now, I love that you have been a healthy lifestyle coach for nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I know. I started in kindergarten.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, great. So I want to know more about your latest book that's titled Make Your Life a Beautiful Story. Life Lessons I Learned from My Mother.
Yeah.
Just that title just grabs me. Having, I'm a mom and grandma and many people in here. There's lessons that we've learned, or maybe we've passed on, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you've also co-authored several other books, but I love this as a former music theater actress, singer, dancer, getting back on stage as a motivational speaker and podcast guest was a natural shift.
Mm-hmm.
So your goal is simply to share love, motivation, coaching, and insight to expand and elevate as many souls as possible as your time here on Earth. I love that.
And so it is.
Boom, and so it is. So with the law of attraction this week, just let me give you a little bit, and I'm going to throw it over to you. So some of the law of attraction is this secondary law to the law of vibration. Now just think about that, because we're vibrating in energy all the time. So, and your mind is a magnet. Love that. Magnetic mindset. Magnetic mindset, and attracts whatever corresponds to the predominant mental states. Boy, when I heard that, or when I think about that, it really makes me want to be more and more aware of where my mental state is. And then there's this desire and expectation are the two essential elements of the law of attraction. In other words, burning desire and then expecting. Okay? A well-defined mental picture held with calm, confident conviction activates this law of vibration or law of attraction. But you know what? You can activate it, but it's the action that provides the channel. So let me throw that over to you, Beth, and tell us a little bit about how you've used it. I noticed that you just attracted a win, championship win.
Yes.
That's law of attraction right there. So go for it. It's all
Well,
you.
that was me, that it's pickleball. Pickleball is my other thing. It's my joy, my love. It's my social outlet, my exercise. And I'm a competitive person and I need an outlet for that. And so pickleball has become that. And what I have learned about this law of attraction is think it and you shall become it. And, when you talk about desire and expectation, that it's an expectation with intensity, meaning you're laser focusing your attention on the end result. Who are we going to be today? Who am I going to be a year from now? And acting as if that you are that person today. And that's when you begin to attract everything into your life. And for me, I was attracting a win. I forgot to tell my doubles partner that we were going to be winning. I just it was on the same page. And it was tough. It was a tough day. It was hot. And I just the whole night before, I was envisioning us on the podium. And we've been there before. We actually won the same tournament last year. But it was a new year, a whole new set of opponents. And I remember that we were down in our last match. It was the gold medal match. And so you play three games and you have to win two of the three. Well, we lost the first one. And you switch sides. And my new vantage point on the new side was the podium.
Oh, wow.
And I just kept looking at the gold, the higher part. I didn't look at silver. I didn't look at bronze. I just kept looking at gold. Whenever I had a moment, I glanced at that gold part of the podium. And I know I'm going to be there. It's just a matter of time. Let's get this over with. That's where I'm going to be standing in about 45 minutes. And I just kept that thought in my head. And I was thinking of the score. And we were down 8-10, and you play to 11, win by 2. We were down 8-10. And we came back and won that game 12-10. And the momentum just went whoosh, switch. And I just kept staring at that podium. And we won the third game much easier. And, I think that their shift, our shift went this way and their shift went this way. And it's, what are you attracting? And I talked to the other female, and her mindset was, I'm hot, I'm tired, I just want to end this and be done. But she assumed she was going to win. They had beaten us in a tournament in January. So I really believe so powerfully I was attracting and that manifestation of that dream. It was a micro dream. It wasn't like I'm curing cancer, but it was something that was important in the moment and something that I was really laser focused on with intensity. So it wasn't just a desire. I desire to win, and therefore I have to expect it. Because if I don't have the two, and that's the law of attraction right there, I desire, but then I need to expect that it's going to happen. And that's when that vibration is, okay, this is my expectation. I need to raise my vibration to be on the same frequency so that it's a done deal, because I've put it out there. I've launched that desire, and now I'm going to laser focus my intensity and my expectation, and that's when achievement happens. It's that simple, and yet it's like it's simple, but it's not easy.
I really love it because it's that middle part, right? The,
Yeah,
the middle part is where you're putting your attention.
right. Yeah, and a lot of people will hope for things, but without action, all you have is an inspired thought.
Yeah.
You have to put the action. You can't say, "Oh, I hope I win." No, I am going to win. I am going to win. I am going to be a life coach. I am going to be the person that I intend to be, and living as if, and I need to become that person. I need to attract all the good that we are deserving of. And that's another key part of law of attraction, is your sense of deserving and understanding that you deserve to win, which is the title of my next book.
Oh my gosh, deserve to win?
You deserve to win.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Bestseller already. Oh, that brings me back. Tell me about the title of the book about your mom, the lessons
Oh,
you learned about your mom. Tell me a little bit, if it's okay, a little backstory and who is
yeah.
your mom or who was your mom, you
Well,
know.
I'll tell you, it started with I work with Les Brown. I'm so super fortunate. And we were on a call one day and we were talking about what my signature story was going to be in public speaking. And he said, "Tell me about your mom." And I thought, well, okay. And I thought that was a weird question. And he said, "What was her favorite color?" He asked me like six silly questions. And then he, on the phone, delivered a 10-minute talk about life lessons that he learned from my mom. Now, he's never met my mom. He's never, we're just sitting on the phone. And he said, "This is the title of your talk. And I want you to have it written and delivered to me and recorded on Monday." That's 4th of July weekend. I was like, okay, you don't sell Les Brown and make excuses. Well, I got this and I got that. You're like, oh, absolutely. I'll have it delivered to you. And so I spent the weekend with my mother, with the spirit of my mother. And it was a beautiful, beautiful time. Now, I had written some chapters because, we always have that book in us and we get inspired and we'll write some stuff and then it just sticks in a Google sheet somewhere. And I just started to pull those out and how can I relate this? And then coming up with stories that I remembered about my mom, how she would handle certain situations in her life, whether it was fear, she was a lifelong learner. She had to be tenacious when my dad had a stroke and she was taking care of him and she needed money and we didn't have it and she found it, and how she always remained calm in the storm. And her power, the power of that woman's imagination, I didn't appreciate it enough at the time. We never do. But she could weave a story that would stop a room. And it would be about a ball of string, or she's reading I don't know, the phone book, but it would be there's the way she told the story. And it was this calm nature that she had, that she just, even when she would be spinning 20 plates, she was president of every organization she ever joined. And she would memorize everything that she had to do. She still could recite up until, when she could no longer speak, she could recite her wedding vows. And it was just, that was just who she was. And so I wrote this speech, I recorded it, and I fell in love with it. Fast forward about 2 months, I'm going to be speaking at a networking event. And he said, "Hey, do you have something that you could give away? You've got a book or an ebook or something, right?" And I was like, "Of course I do. I don't, I don't have an ebook." So I took that book, my talk, created it into an ebook. And then it just developed into a full-on book because the more I started speaking and interacting, and these stories started to become part of me, and they were interacting with all the lessons that you and I coach with. And I'm like, this is mom, this is mom. And these stories just came out of me that was like, oh yeah, mom did this and mom did that. I was remembering what it felt like as a little girl. And I remember my mom was busy in the kitchen chopping whatever, and we always entertain. And I decided that was a good time to go tell her I was bored. I remember it was probably 6 or 7. And you don't tell a busy mom that you're bored because she'll definitely fill your time. And she said, "Well, I've got a dust cloth here, and you can go underneath all the tables and get all the chairs and tables dusted. Or you could go back in your room, use your imagination, and come up with something else to do." I was like, "I'll be in my room." But that story, I remember. Oh, and then I needed water, and so I kind of got the envision that she didn't want me to be seen. She was busy. So I decided, I put a blanket over my head and I walked into the kitchen like a ghost, like, oh, she can't see me. So I could get some water because I didn't want to bother her. But I said, "I'm going back to my imagination. I'm just getting a drink." But and we just had these endless days of, she just always encouraged that imagination. And I had an imaginary friend named Eddie the cowboy. And I tell this story in my book. And my mom, rather than poo-pooing it, encouraged it. And Eddie lived in the big oak tree in our backyard. And Eddie knew every secret. Whatever secrets a 6, 7, 8-year-old had, Eddie was the keeper. Eddie was my security. And I was the third child by a lot. I was a lot younger than my brother and sister. So I had a lot of alone time. And I know now Eddie was my little voice, my intuition. I know that now. And I know that my mom knew that. And she also wrangled Eddie to get me to eat canned peas that I hated. And I wanted to grow up to be a cowboy like Eddie. So there was a favorite book, Eddie the Cowboy, and that's where I came up with the name Eddie. And I was going to grow up to be a cowboy. But she informed me that all cowboys eat these canned peas. So if I was, and Eddie knew, Eddie knows for full on, and he eats these canned peas. So we're going to eat the canned peas. So she was just that woman. But her imagination, I think, got her through some tough times for sure. I think I know that she never read or saw The Secret. She never knew about the law of attraction, um, as a outwardly or intellectually, but I think deep down in her soul, she knew. And right now, she's communicating to me with blueberries. It's very strange, but every morning I grab a little small handful of blueberries to put in my yogurt. And so I wash them and I rinse them. And somewhere between the container to the sink or the sink back to the yogurt, at some point, a blueberry falls. Now, this morning, all the blueberries made it in the bowl, and I went, "Oh, Mom." And I tripped or something, and I knocked the bowl, boop, blueberry popped out. I said, "Hey, Mom." I kissed the blueberry, and then I ate it. So anyway, this book was a labor of love. I have purple flowers behind me because as my mom was beginning into her transition, she would have these. We had all kinds of people in the room, like the spirit people that she would wave to, and I'd say, "How many are here? Is it one or two or three or four?" And she would describe in her way that she was in a field of purple flowers. So the ebook version of my book was centered on the purple flowers, and now there's just like little bits of it, and no one would know the significance except you and I and anyone listening to this. But yeah, so that book was really and truly a labor of love, and the life lessons are things that any person can glean.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Yeah. When you were talking about, your mom and everything, my mom's, well, she's been gone for a while, but she was a real corker as well. I mean, just boom, boom, boom. And her desire was this curiosity about life.
Mm,
Stay
yeah.
curious.
Yes.
And that kept her, and she met everybody. She would go somewhere, she would meet and talk to everybody. And I think that that's another thing that's really important. But I'll tell you what, like you said, I certainly did not appreciate it at the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, especially
Yeah.
some of the stories she would tell because I go, oh, here she goes again.
There's again, right? Yeah. Now
Yeah,
you sort of wish that you recorded them, and I think that's why I was able to write this book so quickly. Once I started to think, um, she helped me write it for sure. I mean, I remember it was late at night, and I'd be typing and typing and typing, and then I would be like, I don't remember thinking these words, and then I was like, did I fall asleep? Like, who wrote this? And I know. Then I would go back and edit, and some of it was almost dyslexic, but I was like, oh, I get it. I understand. It just would give me goosebumps. And it's just so, I don't know. Everybody has a book in them. Write it, write it. Absolutely.
wow, that's so beautiful. Wow. Oh, there's so many questions that I just want to ask. So I want to go back to the law of attraction is really the law of secondary law of vibration, and we're all energy.
Hmm.
I was just reading that again today. It's like, oh, everything is energy.
Everything is energy.
Oh, whether we see it or not, mostly when we're not. And it's like the atomic energy and like all of that. And I was thinking, like, oh, so when someone transitions to another planet, I always say, well, I'm here on this planet for a limited, for an amount of time. I don't know how long. And so it is my desire to stay curious about it. But so there's this burning desire, intensity of expectation, and there's that time in there where that focus energy. So what is it that, where does the belief come in? Believing. How's,
Well, believing is everything, and we believe the thoughts that we think. A belief is the thoughts we keep thinking, and with that focused energy, notice what you're noticing about your thoughts, and are they limiting, are they constrictive, or are they expansive thoughts? And that goes into the expectation. If you have that desire and you don't have that equal and strong, intense expectation that it will come to you, everything in between gets broken down. You can't have one without the other. I mean, you can have the desire, but you cannot raise your vibration to the level of what you're expecting, that outcome, whatever that is for you. For me, it was a gold medal. But whatever that dream that you have, if you don't have that laser focused intention, and that's your belief, you believe you can, and you will. I said this the other day, that phrase, I'll see it when I believe it. And if we flip that switch to, I'll see it when I believe it.
that's right. I have on my little calendar thing, that I flip it, because I flip it each day physically, the month
Mhm.
and all that. And underneath it, it came with this, I can do it. And I don't know where I heard it, probably Tony Robbins or something, to forget that word can
Mm.
and change it to must.
Ooh,
I must do it. So when I when I'm feeling like in doubt and fear and worry, if I'm feeling those things, and I look and I physically, like we're in movement people too, right?
mhm.
Physically move over and flip and understand, okay, I must do today.
Mm.
And so when in other words, I'm giving myself a command. Mary sometimes talks about command energy. When
Interesting.
things are like, and then there's that, I demand, I must do this.
I
So,
must do it.
have you ever had a time where you were toying with your doubts about yourself, or toying? That's what I want. Let's get real here. Yeah, and tell if you would, because a lot of this, not a lot, but people out there who watch this, sometimes they scratch their head and then they kind of like, oh, okay, here's another one. Tell us some real stuff about, if you wouldn't mind,
Sure.
where you were in the pits, or, where things weren't going good.
Um, a big one comes to mind when my marriage came to an end. And along the journey of my marriage, I lost me in the process. I became that woman who wanted to be superwoman, who was 100% present for my kids, the supportive wife, and I was championing everyone else's dreams. And mine went up on the shelf. And before I got married, I had some success as Broadway musical singer, dancer, actress. And I got married young and then had my children, and there was a shift. I couldn't do the showbiz lifestyle anymore. So I pivoted into personal training, being a health coach. And that was wonderful for me because it was coaching. I knew that I'm supposed to be here to help other people achieve their goals. But I forgot the part about helping me achieve my goals because I put them on that shelf. And so along the way, I know now looking back, we connect the dots backwards, that I was very slowly and methodically losing my self esteem, my self worth, my connection to who I was supposed to be, who I was in the moment. I know I was a good mom. I know I was a great wife. Um, but I lost Beth Robins. Actually, that's a made up name. I lost Beth along the way. And there was a day when I was walking through, it was a fall, walking through my neighborhood, and it felt like I was walking through quicksand. And it was just my legs were heavy. My heart was so heavy that literally my chin was down here. My neck hurt because I was walking like this. I can't imagine what I looked like. And I didn't hear the crunch of the leaves under my feet. I didn't hear all the birds chirping. I heard almost like a sad moaning coming, and it was coming from me. Like that was the lowest I've ever been. I didn't feel that my life was worthy, that my kids were leaving the nest and they were going to be just fine. And my husband was having an affair, and my dog was 12 and barking his last barks. And it's like, what's left for me? And, Judy, I think I've shared this story maybe once in my life. It's deeply personal, but I want to share this with your audience that, you know, there was a moment when I stopped and I looked around and I thought, well, in the court time that I've been walking, the sun still moved across the sky, the birds were still flying, time was going on, the world was going on, and so must I. And I had to, pick myself up by the bootstraps. And, I went through a very dark, dark, deep depression. And then I realized no one was coming to my pity party. It was a party for one. And I got bored. I got bored feeling sorry for myself.
Oh, how
I
funny.
like it's time to get this going. And I'd always had this dream of writing my book, getting back on stage, public speaking, being a life coach. And I started to kind of dabble in, oh, it's too hard. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a BFA in musical theater. What's that got to do with being a life coach? I have 100 and something certifications in fitness and nutrition. But this, I need to get certified. Nobody knows who's going to listen to me. Who's going to hire me as a coach? And then I was like, oh, it's too hard. I'll just keep personal training. I'll just keep going along, and then I'll retire and I'm going to move to San Diego. And I did. I created that dream for myself. But I was just going through the motions. There was a spark missing for me in my life, and that spark was missing because I was doubting myself.
Doubt.
I didn't believe that Beth Robins could do that. And I took baby steps. I really did. And that's all we have. We have those baby steps. And I look back now, and now I'm proud of the things that I did achieve. But I took 10 years to get here.
Oh, hey,
And,
that's
you
not
know,
bad at all.
I got here. But my dream now is to help people get there way sooner than 10 years. I've been to the dark caves, and I know the secret tunnels. I know how to get out. So we don't have to stay down in there by ourselves. And I just feel like, life's going to be lifing. That's what my dear friend Les says. Life's going to be lifing. And it's having that tenacious spirit of I must do, but I believe in me. And knowing that I met a friend, and we just met when all this was going down. She saved my life, and she believed in me. And it was kind of like with Mary, where the chaplain said, you might not believe that you will get well, but is it all right if you can believe into me as much as I believe in you? Or I forget how it went down, but belief is everything. You have to believe that you are worthy, that you deserve to win, that you deserve to have a life that you truly love. And that's believing. And when you believe it, that's that intensity of expectation. So that's the bridge here. We've got the desire, we've got the intense expectation, and it's the belief that gets us there.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And then that the focused energy, no matter what. And I think it was Bob Proctor or something said, go about the day, and when you're making decisions during the day, go, is it a it or not it? Mm,
Mm.
it, not it. It, not it. It's like, okay, is this an it? Is this going to propel me from? I know we were talking to one of my clients yesterday who was in that push, push, push energy.
Yes.
You probably have seen many of that with your health people, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Push,
I'm a pusher.
push, push. And
Yeah.
it's, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. Ooh, coming from that person and who that person being in that beautiful life. So, wow, I love
Yeah. I'm the queen of push energy, but the decision making, I always say it's either a hell yes or it's a no. Because if it's something that, oh wow, this gives me goosebumps, sign me up. I'm doing it. Let's go. But if there's a pause where I've got to go, let me weigh this out, it's probably a no. And that came, getting to this point in my life where I can make decisions like that. And that key question, what would I love?
it. Yeah, there.
Right turn, left turn.
Yeah. Well, so if you could, if there was like one, oh, I love doing this too. Okay, so I know we have quotes from all of the greats, right? Whatever quote. So, what is a quote that you would love to leave the world? That's a quotable quote, Beth Robins. So I'm driving down the highway and I'm looking. I am totally in my stuff, and I look up at a billboard, and there's your picture. What would the quote be beside your picture? And,
Believe it and you will become it.
ooh, okay, I'm gonna write that down.
That just came from the sky. Believe it and you will become it.
Oh yeah, I'm writing that one down. I love
Is it
that.
Yoda that says do or do not? There is no try.
Yeah, Yoda.
He's amazing.
Awesome. Well, so as our community here, and we're a pretty strong community. This is Paradigm Shifters community. We do Transformations Tuesday. And what we do, and I love how you said, like, this is a we thing. When we're out there trying to do it on our own, which is okay, we do that every now and then, right? Until fall. There's a real quick story. I remember a couple years ago, my mind was not focused on where my feet were. I was in the future, worried about something, and I slipped and fell walking my dog, right? And crack, right? And I'm like, oh, I mean, I started to beat myself up right away, and I didn't do that, but I knew where my mind was. It was not in the present moment. It wasn't. It was on worry, and I remember that. And then I also remember is you keep beat. If you're beating yourself up, you're going to get more to beat yourself up about. So yeah, thank you for my mentors, right? And I immediately, like, I finally went and it was broken foot and stuff. But I thought, okay, well, what story am I going to be telling about this?
Ooh.
What story? And I started to tell the real story because I knew I could get pity party. I have a
Yep.
friend who says, give yourself a 5 minute pity party once a month, and that's it. So anyway, I was in the whole. I knew that I could tell that story, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I could have some fun with this. So I made up like this way cool story about hiking and the bears attacking me.
Oh my God.
I know, and I mean, every time I would tell the story, it would get more and more like cool. And then something like, okay, I want to heal this, but not too quickly. Law of attraction. Okay, I want the other side, but not too quickly, because I want to glean all the learning it has for me.
Mm.
So I went down to the dollar store. You know, you have dollar stores like the stickers. I have a sticker for, and I got happy face stickers and stuck it all over my calves.
Oh,
And I started to call it my happy feet.
oh, I like that.
And then it attracted all these kids. And I'll tell you what, the healing of that went like this. Because so law of attraction, we attract what we think about. So we've got this billboard going down with the picture of Beth Robins on it. Believe it and you will become it. So what would you love to have our community, which are like 2,000 to 3,000 people strong, maybe even that, the YouTube channel's blown up too. What would you love to have us hold for you, Beth? What would you love that we can hold for you?
Wow. I would love to continue to be in a space of inspiration and encouragement to millions of people. I would like to impact millions and millions of lives. And I've said that since I was 12 or 13. I thought I would be through doing singing and dancing, but I realize now I was saying someone else's words. I was reading, or I was reciting from a script or singing someone else's song. And that if it's whether reading my books or coming to hear me speak, um, that if I could, I used to say this prayer backstage before I would sing, if I could impact one life today, it's all been worth it. And now I want to impact millions of lives, a ripple effect, and leave that legacy.
Awesome. Okay, are you ready to hop into the law of receiving? So
Yes.
open up your arms like this. Okay, so we're going to send you energy. Oh, wow. So we're going to send energy there, and all you have to do is receive it because it is so. You ready?
I'm ready.
All over the globe. Got it?
I
Yeah.
got it.
Thank you so much.
Feel
Oh
it.
my God, this has been so powerful. And what you were just saying about your singing, I just heard something in a meeting I just left about hummingbirds.
Oh my gosh.
Hummingbirds are just songbirds who can't read the words.
Okay. Now that's hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay.
Those are the people that I hang around with now.
I
I'm gonna
love that. That is great because I think a lot of people, when hummingbirds come nearby, there's some kind of spiritual connection to someone. And I always say it's my mom. But I was at my pickleball coach's home, and she has these little miniature hummingbird feeders. And I sat on a chair and I just held them, and they all came and they got in a line. It was almost like they were landing planes, and they would drink, and then they would look at me, and then they'd fly away. Then the next one would go. And I had 8 or 9 hummingbirds all around me drinking from these little cups. And it was the most, I mean, I said this, I will never ever forget what this felt like in this moment. So I have a huge attraction to hummingbirds, but I love that they're songbirds who haven't learned the words. That's brilliant.
care to learn the words, right?
Yeah.
Humming along.
They didn't have time. Their wings are going a million miles an hour.
They're vibrating. Love
Exactly.
it. They're attracting. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And this has been such a pleasure to get to know you and looking
Yes.
so much forward to dancing with you again and to, you
Yeah,
know, keeping it. Yeah, totally see your billboard up there as well.
I love that. Thank you so much, Judy. This was just the most special part of my day and my week.
Awesome.